Hello there, welcome to this week's video. It is the 28th of August 2023. I'm Karen from karenandtara.org. Yes, I changed my website name. Is this an end of an era? Well, don't be fooled twice, is what I will say as a hint. Because I believe something has shifted. Can you feel it too? I know many people have been saying to me that they also feel something shifted. There's a lightness to the experience. I think that's really exciting. So for me, this began around the time of the solstice, I think. Now, I don't really go by solstice and equinox and all of that kind of thing very much, but if I look back, it was kind of around that time. I experienced something that made me feel extremely emotional. It was an event that happened within our family. And as I began to come out of that, I began to realize that something has changed. I first of all thought something had changed within me, but as I mentioned this to other people were feeling this shift too. So that's great. It wasn't all about me. After all, this is something that we were experiencing in the collective. I felt as if I was opening my eyes to a new level. I knew something had changed within me, but I didn't quite know what that was. So this feeling of change has continued with me since then. And it has evolved and it's grown actually to the point that I have a lot more clarity on levels that I didn't have before. And I've begun to identify certain events that are current, and also that seem to be very ancient, that have come together to kind of, it's like a convergence really of timelines, but created a timeline shift. And when I look back at my personal experience, I know that it was connected somehow to a decision I made back then around the solstice time that literally shifted me from one position into the next position. It felt like a timeline shift. Many others have experienced it too. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't actually said to them what made the shift. Was there an event? But the point is that many of us have felt this shift. And I think that that is pretty fantastic. Now, remember that we are multidimensional beings. We don't exist on just one timeline because there are parts of our consciousness evolving. Some are more evolved than others. Some are on almost different timelines, if you like. So there are parts of us that are on a lower level as well, less evolved, if you like, or on a less evolved timeline, but none lower than what we see here in 3D. However, if you're listening to this, you're not at the lowest level that can be experienced here on the earth. Have no fear of that. If you were at that lowest level of experience, you certainly wouldn't be listening to this kind of talk. Because you are awake to some degree, are you not? Very difficult for us to actually discern which level of awakening we are, because as I say, we're multidimensional. So there can be parts of our own consciousness having different levels, levels of experience within the same experience. Earth as we know it is a very heavy and dense place. And yet, whilst some people here are really suffering, others are having a beautiful life here. And it's all happening in what appears to be the same place. But it's not quite the same place. It's levels of experience within this place. Bit tricky to explain that, but hopefully you get what I mean. So the point is that we can exist here in several levels of experience all at the same time. Throughout a day almost, we can kind of have the highs and lows of life where we're in a high vibrational state a low vibrational state in a little while, so we do move in and out of these vibrational states. And the vibrational states that I'm talking about in this context would be David Hawkins' scale of consciousness. So we know that when we are feeling grief or shame or humiliation or loss, those are very low vibrational states, with helpless and hopeless being at the lowest levels there. When we feel those things, a lot of the time, we're really being pulled down into those lowest levels of this earthly experience. We don't necessarily live there all the time. That's the goal, anyway. But when we're in those levels, we can feel like we are a victim. That victim state is a very heavy, low, dense state. I'm sure you'd agree. And in that state, we can believe that there is nothing that we can do to change our circumstances or, in fact, change anything at all, because we're pretty, exactly as the label says, helpless and hopeless. But actually, that's not true. We are never helpless and hopeless. That is almost like a trick of the mind, right? We can and we should change things in our life. Many people I spoke to after my solstice experience, maybe I should call that my solstice awakening. Anyway, many people told me that they felt a lightness had come through. They felt that things were going to be okay, that we would evolve, and that things were actually getting better here on this planet. Well, that's a shift of consciousness, right? Because many, many people have woken up, are awakening now. I think you'll agree. And there is a feeling of hope. And I believe that people are beginning to step into their power, and that's perfect. I believe that's exactly what should happen as part of this great awakening. People are waking up to the understanding that the power is within them and freeing themselves from control and domination by the few who have put themselves in power here. That's possible now. People are waking up to the understanding that we can free ourselves from this. However, do you think that that shift around the solstice time went unnoticed by the guys that put themselves in those positions of power over us? Well, no, of course it didn't go unnoticed. And they are not about to give up their power over us without a fight. So, what are they going to do? Well, out comes the next variety of fluvid. And we start to see them moving towards the face nappy thing again. And, the lock you in your home thing again. All of this on the back of what was a massacre, in my opinion, in Maui, and what looked to me as an energetic re-enactment of the electric wars and the destruction of Lemuria, because all of that is there in the Earth history. All of this is designed to put people, again, into shock and trauma, grief, loss, helpless, hopeless, that low vibrational state in which they are more easily controlled through trauma-based mind control, and being in a state of fear where they basically do as they're told just in order to try to survive. And many people have lived that through these last 3 years. The Maui event caused a massive energetic ripple effect across the planet. The grief, the shock, the horror of what happened there, what was done there, that is palpable. My heart absolutely goes out to everybody that was caught up in the middle of that. I felt this massive wave of grief come through me. And terror, actually, I felt that come through because it's in the energetic space But these are powerful people there in Maui. They hold ancestral record, and that ancestral record needs to be acknowledged and witnessed in the same way that we are witnessing what occurred there. We are witnessing it with them. Their story will not go untold. But that's the Lemurian timeline there. And others across the planet are finding a new strength and kind of like a fighting power through this as well. People across the globe, if it's a globe, across the planet, let's say, across the plane even, people are standing up and saying, no, this is wrong. And we're witnessing it. And it is a witnessing of Lemuria all over again. Now, as I see it, we have a few options available to us now. We have to choose, and our decision will mean everything going forwards. In 2020, they may have fooled you. How much have you woken up since then? And will they fool you again? Will you continue to evolve and expand your consciousness towards truth and sovereignty and liberation for all of us? Or will you contract and cave in and comply? Will you stand up and speak your truth and resist being controlled and dominated and lied to again? Would you stay in a relationship with someone who took away your livelihood, your ability to leave your home, took you away from friends and family, and took away your freedom? And once you got all of that back, would you let them do it to you for a second time around? Will you cave in to more tyranny? Will you march for freedom with us? Will you come out onto the streets for your freedom as powerfully as that lot did to support the soccer, which was, to me, mind-blowing? Because where were they when we needed them? Oh, wait, we know where they were. They were at home drinking beer and watching TV. Sport from TV, probably. But the point is, a great number of people have woken up over these last few years. That is such a blessing. I can't even describe, because we've been waiting a long time for them, have we not? So my question is, with so many people more awakened on the planet, revealing the lies, even people in politics and law and the medical system, people are standing up now in a way that they didn't 3 years ago. And that gives me such great hope. So my question is could this be an end of an era? Can we show that we can no longer be controlled like subservient sheep? Can we show that we have shifted our level of consciousness from a low vibrational state where we can be controlled to the level of at least courage and optimism so that we can begin to stand up in our power? Can we show that we are evolving our consciousness and we can now hold a higher level of consciousness through our day-to-day lives? So this is not just, expanding our consciousness in a feel-good meditation. This is holding and sustaining that level of consciousness and awakening 24/7 throughout all the choices and actions that we make throughout a day. And what do we stand for? Can we hold our level of consciousness for what we claim we are all about? Can we stand strongly in our beliefs, even if those around us just don't get it? Because surely we must be used to that by now. There's always one path cutter in each family. Most families, maybe not all of them, because not all not everybody, is destined to wake up this time around. And goodness knows, we can't wake somebody that doesn't want to be woken, because we've all tried that, haven't we? So it's like a time clock goes off inside. Oh, I need to get on board with this. I need to awaken. It appears to me that some people don't have that time clock this time around. That's okay. So generally, there is one path cutter in the family. You may be the path cutter in your family. And if there is one in each family, it's because there is a potential for the others within that family to also awaken. Now, sure, they might be late to the party. They might be very late to the party. But can you still stay strong? Because you are the role model, and your impact might be more outside of your family initially than it is within your family. But that's exactly why you have to keep on doing it. You have to get strong. You have to stay strong, because we need you. This is a kind of test right now. And I know that people don't like to feel that they're being tested. Very often because there's a fear that we might fail in this test. But we can't afford to fail this time. Failure is not an option for us if we want to live our life freely and if we want to actually get out of this matrix in one piece. Together, we can collapse this timeline that they have planned for us. They need our energy to build it. Without us, it cannot exist. It's our choice whether we participate with it or not. It's our fear that makes us think we don't have a choice. And I know it looks very real in the physical that you don't have a choice when everything is being taken from you if you don't, ... But the point is, this is a spiritual and an energetic battle. It's a battle for your soul, actually. So will you sell your soul to their devilish agenda? Or will you stand for sovereignty and for freedom and for truth? The choice is yours, but please choose wisely, because this could be your last choice, your last chance now for a really long time. Certainly, for another 26,500 year time cycle, potentially. Do you want to live in this way for that period of time until you get another choice point? Or can you stand strongly enough now that it shifts everything and we all collectively move, apart from the ones that are not destined to, of course? Your choice affects the whole. It affects all of us because we are connected. And it's in our connection to each other and ultimately to Source that's where our power lies. Within that connection is our power. So I hope that you will stand strong with us, firmly and strongly in the light. My phone's ringing out there. Can you hear it? The point is, this is such an important time. You have to stand strong in the power of your convictions, because the power is within you and me and us coming together collectively to make this difference in the world. It's so important now. I really can't stress that enough. One of the most important parts to this, though, is not going into fear, not going into terror, because that's immediately going to drop you right down and it makes it much harder to stand up. And don't you think they know that? Of course they do. That's why they pull out the tricks and the games that they have. So let's stand together in unity consciousness, for our sovereignty, for our liberation, and for truth, because That's what our soul thrives on. So I hope this has been an interesting video for you to listen to. If you've enjoyed it, please make sure that you like and subscribe, because that way YouTube's algorithms will spread this message further. And please share it with any friends that you think might be interested to listen to this. Come along into my Facebook group if you would like more of this type of discussion, as much as we can get away with censoring on social media, of course. But my Facebook group is called Awake, Aware, Sovereign and Free. What else? Okay, well, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will talk to you again next time. Have a great week. Bye-bye.